Hey folks, Mike and McGee here. Today's video is a perfect opportunity to do a clover update. I've got my crimson clover here. I'm gonna pull some up. It is absolutely looking perfect. I've got blooms coming on, and I noticed when I was looking through here, there's a lot that are already turning red. This is much earlier than usual. So I think we're having an earlier spring, even though we've had quite a bit of cold weather. It seems like stuff's coming on quick. This right here is over a foot tall. From the tip of my finger to right there, that's a foot and a half probably. And when you look out through here, you'll also see a lot of wheat. There's a lot of wheat. I planted the wheat in there to trigger the clover to produce more nitrogen. The wheat itself doesn't produce as much nitrogen, if any, although it creates great humus with that big root system. The clover does the feeding of the corn. Nitrogen is what corn needs. Nitrogen is what clover gives it, and crimson clover is by far, in my opinion, the best clover that I've tried. Let's just put it that way. I've had a few people say try this clover or that clover, and some of them promised to be better. I tried one called Berseem here back 2 years ago, and I had a crop failure with it because it couldn't handle the cold. This stuff here, it took 10 below zero and handled it like a champ. So let's get in here and look at it, see what we got, see how it's looking. We got wheat here. We got clover here. The clover tears out. You can't hardly pull the roots up. The wheat pulls the roots and all up. But you can see right here two fine examples of clover and wheat growing together. I have a feeling this is going to be a humdinger of a corn crop, or at least we hope. This here is unreal. Let's go down and look at the potato crop where we grew potatoes last year. I'm going to grow corn this year, so I need clover now. Let's go look at it because I didn't plant it till February. Let's go see what it looks like. All right, here's where we had potatoes last year. We planted them all the way down the hill in strips. It's kind of a really low maintenance terrace program. And so basically we're going to do the same thing this year except with corn. And here is our clover that we planted in February. It's up a couple inches. That's actually pretty good considering the weather conditions we've had and all that good stuff. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks to me like we got good coverage down through there. I only planted it in the strips where I'm going to have the corn. I didn't plant it in the grass strips. I'm just going to bush hog that as usual. And sometime before the corn gets too tall, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to hopefully work up the grass area and put soybeans in there so that we can have it between the corn, just as we did in the upper field last year. That worked out great. So I think this is going to come along nicely. It's probably going to be planted a little later than our other crops because the other crops are starting to bloom already. So in a couple weeks, it's going to be full bloom, time to get the corn in the ground. And that's what you go by, because when it's in full bloom is when you got the peak nitrogen level to plow in that ground. And that's why we do it. A lot of people look at it and start salivating for their animals, wishing their animals could eat it, and that's fine. If you want to feed animals, feed animals. I did that one year, but I discovered that it didn't feed my corn because I fed my animals and my corn suffered. So I'm feeding corn, then I'll feed the corn to the animals. Let's move on to the other field over here. It looks absolutely wonderful. Why in the world would this field be so much further ahead than the field over there? The first field we looked at? I can tell you why. It's because we had soybeans in this field, and what we did whenever it was time to plant the clover, we disked those soybeans in green. We didn't wait for the soybeans to mature. That put more good into the soil, and it also helped to insulate the little clover seeds from the dry weather because we had a very hot, dry fall. That made all the difference in the world in this crop. And I would say this wheat is even taller. It's going to trigger this clover to give more nitrogen. So why did I do the soybeans? It was for fun. It was because Mr. Farmall Fanatic challenged me. I challenged him to plant clover. I'm not sure if he did. I'm not sure if he's going to. Maybe he did. He said he will. We shall find out. I'm going to just continue on my program because this here produced corn that was 15 feet tall without chemical fertilizer. I did not buy a speck of fertilizer. This is my fertilizer. Of course I paid for the seed, but it's a lot cheaper than fertilize at today's prices. So this is probably going to be your last clover update. The next thing you see in this field is going to be plowing it under and getting the corn in the ground. It's going to have to dry up a bit first because right now it's wet. But this stuff here is sucking moisture out of the ground, growing like crazy. I think this is working in my favor to help that ground dry up. And all we need is a week really of no rain and this kind of temperature, and it'll do it. It just don't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. But we don't plant till mid to late May anyway. As far as I know, everything is looking up, looking good in the hood. But for today, that's all we've got for you. We hope you have a great day. We'll see you on the next video.